Jamaica has one of the highest electricity costs in the world. Ranking in the top 20, the island paid an average of 29 cents per kilowatt in 2024. Now, to be fair, Jamaica is not the only Caribbean island on this list. The Cayman Islands is ranked at number 4, Barbados at number 8, and the Bahamas at number 14. Now, as we all know, Jamaica is not an oil producing country, so this means that all of the oil that the island uses has to be imported, which essentially means that the country is at the mercy of the global oil market fluctuations. So, obviously, this is one of the reasons that our energy cost is so high. However, that's only half of the story. The other half has to do with one company, JPS. So I researched a bit about the JPS contract, and let me just say this from now. The contract is literally insane. According to the Electricity Act, IPPs, which stands for Independent Power Producers, only have the right to generate energy for sale to JPS. Therefore, under any circumstances, they cannot sell power directly to you, the ratepayer. So let me just simplify this for you guys. Imagine for a second, a bunch of us came together and we built a small community for ourselves, and then one of us out of the group decided to build a solar power station to sell energy back to the community at a cheaper rate than JPS. That would be illegal. Instead, what we are required to do by law is to sell that energy to JPS, and then JPS would have to sell back that energy to the community. This basically means that the price would be hiked up twice, because obviously the solar plant can't run at a loss, so it would have to make some profit, and then JPS would also be seeking to make profits as well. Now, to be fair to the country and JPS, this isn't a unique contract arrangement. In fact, many countries at one point or another had some type of single buyer arrangement. Even today, many African and Asian countries still utilize this model, and it does have its merits. For one, it promotes stability and predictability. It also promotes investments, and since the more customers the company has, the more money they can make. This will in turn mean that the company will spend as much as they can to expand in an effort to make more money. However, after they do all of that expansion, there's actually no incentive to actually upgrade the system or make it any better, because guess what? It's not like you can go anywhere else for your energy needs. And it doesn't stop there. Jamaica loses a staggering 28% of all the electricity that it generates. Guess who ends up footing the bill for that lost power? You do. So let me just break it down. Let's say Jamaica generates 100 kilowatt hours of electricity. Only 72 kilowatt hours actually reach paying customers. The other 28 kilowatt hours, well, that basically get written off. But where does that 28 kilowatt of power actually go? Well, some of it gets stolen, people bypass their meters and put up illegal wires. Some gets wasted by old equipment, aging transformers, inefficient power lines, and outdated grid infrastructure, while some of it just disappeared due to technical problems, long transmission distances, poor maintenance, and system faults. But the thing is that you, the customer, pay for 79% of these losses through higher electricity rates. JPS only absorb a tiny fraction, and we, the customer, basically eats up most of it. So in a way, you're not just paying for the electricity that you use, you're also paying for electricity that gets stolen and wasted. In 2017, Jamaica lost 26% of generated electricity. Now it's at 28%. This means that the problem is growing. When we compare this to other countries, most developed nations lose 8 to 12% of their electricity, while we here in Jamaica lose 28%. That's more than double the global average. And based on how the contract is set up, there isn't really an incentive for JPS to fix it, simply because it's the customers that pays for a majority of it. So JPS gets guaranteed profits regardless. Now, contrast this to more competitive markets where companies eat their own losses. They tend to fix problems fast because waste cut into their profits. But for JPS, The money keeps flowing to their shareholders in Japan and South Korea, which is something we should also take a look into. We also have to look into the fact that JPS is mostly foreign owned. Foreign companies control 80% of JPS. Marubeni Corporation from Japan owns 40%, Korea East West Power owns another 40%, and the Jamaican government hold only 19%. These companies, by law, have to answer to their shareholders, and let's just say they're not unhappy with JPS at all. Most of Jamaica's power companies operate under something called take or pay contracts. This means JPS has to pay for the energy they provide whether Jamaica needs it or not. Now, to be fair, take or pay contracts exist in developed countries too. The US uses them, Canada uses them, European countries uses them. But here's the difference. In those countries, they have safeguards. Take the UK for example. They have dozens of electricity suppliers competing for customers. If one company tries to overcharge, customers can switch to a cheaper competitor in minutes online. In Germany, large industrial customers can buy electricity directly from renewable energy producers. They don't have a single buyer arrangement where everything has to go through one single company like JPS. Now, let's talk solutions. One part for us is obviously renewables. So think solar, wind, and hydro, and maybe nuclear. Now, guys, I'm actually scared of nuclear, but it's also a viable option. And there are quite a few countries that have done really well with renewables, one of which is Costa Rica. They were able to convert 99% of the electricity grid to renewable energy. They use a mixture of hydro, wind, geothermal, and biomass. Denmark is also another country that we could take a look at with more than 50% of their electricity being generated by winds. So it can be achieved. However, we also have to be real. These investments and transitions cannot happen overnight.